We have laid a format here, and all of you have heard it, and it will come forth in many different ways.
Good.
We'll give it not any thought at all.
I want to go back to the opposite, to Marty's thing here about sleep. I have the opposite type of thing. And it also deals with energy. I know you've talked about insomnia before. I haven't heard the tape, but what about a person who has a lot of energy and that energy interferes with sleep? Now, it may be a learned pattern, as you say, a rut of anxiety or tension. It may be the idea that the person believes they can't, and so therefore they don't. It may be a form of self-punishment. It may be a biochemical thing that perhaps...
All of that, in other words, everything that you are calling biochemical, when you talk about storing stuff in your liver or whatever, you must understand that everything that is happening within your body is triggered from non-physical impulse. The non-physical impulse you are contouring with your physical thought. You are aware of the way the electricity surges through the walls of your house, and you plug in whatever appliance you are wanting to utilize. You plug in your toaster if you're wanting to toast, and plug in your whatever if you're wanting to toast words. In like manner, the energy or electricity surges through the walls of the universe. Energy. You're already plugged into it. But the way you utilize it is by contouring it with your conscious thought. What many of you do is you offer your thought in opposing directions. You say, I want, but. I really, really, really want to have that, but the likelihood of it is not very great. You say, money is very important, but there's not enough money to go around. You say, I really want to be of value, but look at me, I'm not. In other words, you send your thoughts in opposing directions, which literally causes a splitting of the energy, and you feel like you're in a tug of war. The words you use, such as anxiety or tension or stress, all that means is that you are out of harmony with who you really are. When you understand that your inner being is basked in this place of pure positive energy, and you are focused upon the lack of something, then you are going in two directions, you see. And it is the lack of harmony that you are feeling. The best thing to do if you are finding yourself not able to sleep, and the best example that we can give of it is that many of you lie in your bed, but you throw your net far to the boundaries either of your physical experience or of your work day tomorrow or the troubles of the world. You're throwing your net out all sorts of distances in different directions, but you fill your net full of all sorts of stuff that you really have no control over because it has to do with other people, like the children in the war zone and so on, and you drag it all back into your bed with you. And then in that place of thinking about all of these fragmented things, you're disconnected from your sense of well-being. You've heard the expression, he sleeps like a baby? What that is someone who is at one with who he really is. He withdraws into the pure energy of who he really is, and so relaxes into it. If you are not sleeping, it is because you are out of harmony with who you are, you see. The best thing that we have noticed, if you are wanting to find a way to bring yourself into balance quickly with your inner being, put yourself in your bed, and it is very good if you have on either very thin clothes or no clothes in your bed, so that your skin is very sensitive to you. And as you are in your bed, concentrate upon your body relative to the bed. Feel your skin against the sheet. Feel your skin against the sheets below and above. Concentrate upon those things. In other words, specifically, focus upon the way it feels in the very sensitive place under your kneecap. Put your palms down and feel the bed. In other words, give yourself something to think about that is right there, very near and very close to you. And then enjoy the comfort of this bed. Bask in the pleasure of this bed. In other words, you're picking up just a little piece of a positive rope of well-being. Let the world do what the world is doing. You are focusing upon that which is right here close to you. And as you do that, as you begin to pull on that rope just a little bit, you will raise your vibration of well-being, to a place where your inner being can flood you with a sense of well-being. with a sense that all is well. And you will literally drift off into this slumber, knowing that all is well.
I think when I originally developed that problem, it was created by a worry about a lot of things. However, as you mentioned, this rut, I think in my case and in many cases of people who have, allow themselves to have this condition, it becomes a rut, a pattern. For example,
A habit.
Yes. Night before, I was going to come to this workshop, and I said to myself, I'm going to have a really good night's sleep because I really want to listen and be aware, which created in me, or I allowed to have it create in me, this feeling, well, I hope that's right.
Good. Now,
and it wasn't.
You see, now let's talk about this, because what you're talking about is the most essential part of what we will gather together here. And that is, every subject is two subjects. There is what is wanted and lack of it. And so, in the identification of what is wanted, I really want a good night's sleep, there is the automatic acknowledgement of the lack. That is the balance of the universe. And what happened by your pattern or habit is you got more tipped on the lack side, so you were wrestling with that tar baby. Get away, you said, insomnia. It is important that I sleep. Get away from me, you said. Get away. And the more you thought about it, Esther has in the past done that. She sleeps very easily, anywhere, anytime, unless she has an airplane to catch the next morning. And then her concern about being prepared, for Esther is always wanting to do what she says she will do and be where she says she will be, those old habits, that commitment sort of thing, that very often she will find herself, not so much now, but in time past, having a difficult time sleeping. The process that we've offered her about, you see, you can't think about two things at once. It is a matter of, you can't not think about not sleeping. You cannot take your attention away from something, but you can give your attention to something else. But very often, if you give your attention directly to what it is you're wanting, that just calls the attention all the more to the lack of it, because they're so close together. And that's why we say, focus on the bed, focus upon your skin on the bed, give your full attention to your pillow, give your attention to your breathing. Think about your inner being in there, and think about pulling on the rope, or thinking about raising your vibration, or thinking, you see, think about something other than what you're not wanting to think about, and by the natural process you will be there.
That makes sense, because what I had been doing was listening to a relaxation tape by Bobby Griswold from Effective Learning System. I have the thing memorized, and I will play it, and then I'll play it over again, and I'll play it over again. But while I'm doing that, I'm trying to sleep.
You're still vibrating in the place of lack.
Right.
There is a thing called trying too hard, and let us tell you what that is. Trying too hard is where you realize that what you want is important. So important that you must work to have it. And so you try from your place of lack to have it. And it is our promise to you that any action you take from a place of lack is always counterproductive. Any action and so what you're wanting to do is forget about what you want, find some way of feeling good, and then from your place of feeling good, then you can get on that side of the equation. Esther bought a new answering machine, and she would leave the house and not turn it on. And so she put a note on the door, turn on the answering machine, the note said. And for a while it was effective, but pretty soon the note looked just like the door. It was always there, it had no, and that is what happens when you do something repeatedly over and over. You become numb to it. You reach the place where you no longer hear it, you see. That is the thing about affirmations that many are using. They're saying the words, but the words no longer have meaning. And so what you're wanting to do is keep finding new ways of saying the words so that they keep striking that new chord of knowing with you, you see. Everything is about vibration. If you can reduce it down to the subject of vibration and how you're feeling is the indicator of how you're vibrating, then all of this gets very simple. Esther awakened last night from that terrible dream, very upset. And ordinarily, after a bad dream like that, she would get up and pace around. It would take her a long time to settle down, fitful, because she is away from her chicks. She cannot call anyone to find out if they are all right, or she would wring her hands and worry, even wake her mate up and see if she could get him to worry along with her. But understanding that nothing is more important than your own vibration, as she forgot about the chicks. She literally, as she said, nothing is more important than my own vibration, she laid there and basked in the pleasure of the bed. She reached over and touched her mate, basked in the pleasure of the, began thinking about what this day would hold for all of us, got her attention upon something that did vibrate, and right away she went back to sleep, you see. Good. Good.
There's some funny things about sleep. One is I used to work with a drummer who would go days, 4 or 5 or 6 days without sleeping. And then we'd just be walking down the street and he'd just fall over asleep right in the middle of the sidewalk. Or he'd go 5 or 6 days without sleeping and he'd be playing his drums and suddenly just fall asleep and fall right off the bandstand. So I've seen that extreme of people that just don't sleep. But then there's this thing that in a lot of us, we were trained as children that you need your 8 hours. And so when I started not wanting to sleep 8 hours, I felt kind of guilty about not getting my 8 hours. Like I almost felt imperative that I lay in that bed for 8 hours, even if I'm not sleepy anymore, because I must get my 8 hours. How would you respond to those idiosyncrasies a little?
The benefit of sleep is not that your physical body needs refreshment, because your physical bodies are not being taxed sitting here, do you notice? The benefit of sleep is that it gives you a reprieve from vibrating and attracting. It literally gives your inner being an opportunity to align your energies. Otherwise, few of you would make it past the age of 10. Then your negative attraction would be powerful enough that you would vibrate right into oblivion. But because you're able to slumber and readjust, haven't you noticed that when you wake up in the morning, you almost always feel better? Unless you immediately think about what you thought about yesterday and drag it by the hair into today, regurgitating yesterday and recreating it into today. And that is a very strong pattern. The purpose of, you see, when you go to sleep at night, let us see if we can get this all into a very clear perspective for you. You are a physical being that is a counterpart of a non-physical being. You are really one, and as we talk about the physical you and the non-physical you, we make you sound like you are two, but you are not. It is all one, you see. Your non-physical counterpart has multi-dimensional vision, in other words, can view broader and further than you, but is still very much a part of you. As you are here in this physical body, you have this thinking mechanism that is much different than those of the animals, because you have come forth into this environment to use your thinking mechanism to create, to consider, to reason, to evaluate, to decide. That is the key word, to decide. And so as you offer your decisions, I like that, I like that, I like that, I like that, you are literally vibrating in a way that you are the attractor of circumstance and of events that literally hone out what you call your future experience. When you go to sleep at night, and this thinking mechanism shuts down, if it does, and of course as you are sleeping it does, when that thinking mechanism stops thinking, you literally reemerge into the non-physical. And the attraction to this body stops. Momentum, yes, still continuing, but the actual attraction, in other words, the coals may still flicker a little bit, but the source of the fire is out for the time of the slumber, so that you are not attracting, which gives you an opportunity to realign. It's why it feels so good to you, to realign with that energy that is you. To realign your inner being, flooding you with the feeling of well-being and that all is well. Literally aligning every cell in your body. So that when you awaken in the morning, it is not different than being born on the first day. You literally reemerge back into the physical. And so the amount of time that you take away is really not the issue. It is the at oneness. It is the realignment of the energy. Now, if you are very agitated and very much in a place of lack, most of you feel like you need more sleep. And that is because